Appreciate it. I'm sure I know some of the folks on the call today, but if not, for those of you that have not met, thanks for taking time out for today. Leonard, are you going to start the share?
Yes, you can go ahead and share your screen.
Okay. All right, great. All right. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes.
I can.
Okay, great. All right. And Leonard, are we going to have an open mic? Is that how you want to do this?
Yes. So if anyone has any questions, they can unmute themselves, because as they're joining the class this morning, they are getting muted. But if they have any questions, they want to pop in, they can unmute themselves, ask the question.
Yeah, that's perfect. And we got an hour session here, so obviously I'll do my best to answer those questions and keep the overview moving along as quickly as possible for everybody. But for those of you that I have not worked with before, my wife Denise and I have been facilitating short sales in Delaware, Pennsylvania, Maryland for over 18 years now. We work with Mike Haritas for years. Denise actually does his short sales. I work with a number of agents on the listing side, buy side in your office. We've known Mike McGavix forever as well. So again, we appreciate the opportunity. But what I'm going to spend time walking through today is really for you as agents, how can you identify listing opportunities for distressed property owners? And obviously, with all the stuff that's going on right now with COVID and the CARES Act, there are folks that have been laid off, have been furloughed, and can't afford a mortgage anymore, and potentially could be a short sale client for you down the road. So what we're going to kind of walk you through is stuff that you need to be aware of, familiar with, and what questions to ask potential listing client as it relates to identifying if they are in the foreclosure process, how much time do you have to market the property, find a buyer, and then and how do you price the property, and how do you identify finding a potential client for a short sale as well. Okay, so I'm going to jump right in. Like Leonard had said, just unmute yourself if you got questions. And for those of you that aren't aware, in our state of Delaware, we follow a judicial foreclosure process. And really all that is that it has to go through the courts. Anytime a mortgage company decides to take a property back due to non-payment or default, all right, they have to go through the court system. And what that enables a homeowner that is struggling is enables them time, number one, and enables them the ability to have their day in court if need be, all right, to determine whether they can save the property from a foreclosure, okay? But basically, what happens in Delaware is after extended missed payments or late payments, the mortgage company, like a Bank of America or a Wells Fargo or locally a WSFS, they hire a local attorney. And in Newcastle County, they go to the courthouse in Wilmington and they file what's called a lis pendens. It's also known as a pending litigation. So it's public notice that the mortgage company has started foreclosure, okay? This notice allows the homeowner time to dispute it before the proceedings continue, okay? Because it goes through the courts, the homeowner has the ability to have their day in court if they so choose, okay? The timeline really varies state to state, but specifically for Delaware, okay? We're going to walk you through what that timeline looks. It's very simple, very similar, excuse me, for those of you that are dual licensed in Pennsylvania. It also is judicial, but for those of you that are dual licensed in Maryland, Maryland does not go through this judicial process. It's non-judicial, meaning it doesn't necessarily have to go through the courts. And the result of that is a foreclosure can happen a lot sooner in Maryland than it can in Pennsylvania and Delaware, okay? But there's several variables that affect when a lender decides to start foreclosure proceedings. One is the length of delinquency, all right? Have I just missed one payment, or am I 10 months behind as a borrower? Have I ever applied for a loan modification? And for those of you that have had clients that have worked, have clients that have done a loan modification before, the homeowner is trying to work out a solution with their lender for a reduced payment, a loan modification that enables them, the homeowner, to stay in the property and enables the lender the ability to continue to collect payments, albeit at a reduced rate. Some folks have told us they've done a loan modification in 2-3 months. Some folks have told us it took the bank 9 months to do a loan modification. Well, majority of the time though, when the mortgage companies work on a loan modification, they're not proceeding with foreclosure because the homeowner is trying to work out a payment plan with them, okay? So you may see a homeowner that have not paid a mortgage for a year or two, and if you're on a listing appointment and you've identified they've, hey, you haven't paid for that long time period, ask the question, have you ever applied for a loan modification? Most times a homeowner will say, yeah, how did you know? Because what you'll see by the next couple slides, the timeline is pretty consistent, but this is one of the variables. And the other variable is, has someone declared bankruptcy over the years? All right, have they done a Chapter 7 where they wiped out all their debt, which is full liquidation? Or did they file a Chapter 13 where it was a reorganization of their debt? Okay, so let's start with some of the terminology. And we hear a lot in our marketplace, pre-foreclosure, right? What is pre-foreclosure? Pre-foreclosure doesn't mean anything in our state because no court filing has happened. Pre-foreclosure is really only a period of time where the homeowner has defaulted on their mortgage, okay? But foreclosure proceedings haven't started yet. So what does that mean? Technically, if I pay outside of my grace period, or if I miss a mortgage payment to my mortgage company, technically I'm in default, okay? At this point, if that continues to go on, the mortgage company starts to do their collection calls. Hey, Bill, we noticed you missed your May payment. Can you tell us what's going on? Is this a short-term thing or is it a long-term thing? And at that point, they will start to send written correspondence. So the lender, the mortgage company, can document that they've notified me that I'm in default. They've given me the opportunity to cure that default, and they're starting to build that trail of documentation, okay? If no cure arrangements are made, meaning I don't bring my loan current, okay, then the lender will go hire that local attorney to start foreclosure proceedings and file that lis pendens, okay? And the reason I talk about terminology is that there's a lot of confusion in our marketplace, and it's resulting from websites like Zillow posting properties on their website listed as pre-foreclosure. So I'm not sure if any of you have ever had your phone ring from a buyer that you've been working with that said, hey, I just saw this property on 123 Main Street. It's in pre-foreclosure. Let's go take a look at it. Okay. Just because it's listed on Zillow doesn't mean the property's for sale. If it's not in the multi-listing, it's not for sale. And the reason I bring this up is that in a lot of the CE classes that we teach, whether it be at Newcastle County Board of Realtors, over in Cecil County, question comes up, yeah, my phone rings all the time, somebody's on Zillow. How does that happen? And, you know, my theory on this is this, all right, besides the homeowner, who else knows that somebody's defaulted on their mortgage payment? Does anybody have a thought? Unmute if you do.
Do the banks let them know so that they have more social pressure to pay?
Yes, but not social pressure. Anybody that pays attention to their credit report or credit scores, all right, here's what happens. The mortgage companies report 30-day missed payments, 30-day late payments to the credit bureaus. So my theory is that Zillow is tied to the credit bureaus because other than the homeowner, they're the only ones that know that they're delinquent. All right. So Zillow gets this information from the credit bureaus and starts posting these properties on their website. Well, Zillow is a website that's tied to MLS. It's tied to NAR, realtor.org, and it causes confusion. So just for your benefit, all right, for pre-foreclosure doesn't mean the house is for sale. Don't waste a lot of time around this, but it really just causes confusion, and that's why I wanted to bring that up. All right. But typically, if you're on a listing appointment, one of the questions you want to ask a homeowner, if you know that they are behind in payments, okay, ask them how far behind they are in payments, okay? The pre-foreclosure process, and what I'm talking about here, folks, is averages that we see, okay? So pre-foreclosure, typically the mortgage company won't start the foreclosure activity, the legal proceedings, until the homeowner is about 5 to 6 months, 180 days past due, okay? As I mentioned earlier, at this point, the mortgage company, it's a collection activity. It's customer outreach, phone calls, letters, and during this period, all right, it's important for the homeowner to know, just because they're missing mortgage payments, they can stay in the home. The mortgage company's not coming back and coming out and kicking them out of their property because they can't, because in Delaware, legal proceedings haven't started yet, okay? So you always want to ask that homeowner, when did you make your last payment? I made my last payment 2 months ago. I made my last payment 4 months ago, okay? And then once that cure period has passed, typically 5-6 months, all right, in Delaware, all right, the lender hires an attorney to start the foreclosure proceedings. All right, again, if you do business in Maryland where it's not, the lender may not hire an attorney to do that, okay? But in Delaware, the formal complaint must be reviewed by the courts, okay, before there is a sheriff's sale date set. All right. So again, this is the timeline that allows the homeowner the ability to come forth and explain to the courts what they want to do. Okay. The timeline that we typically see in Delaware is after 5-6 months of missed payments, they start foreclosure proceedings, hire the attorney. Okay. And then it's usually another 5 to 6 months before the lender actually holds a sheriff's sale. In Newcastle County, that would be up in Wilmington at the courthouse, okay? So from a selfish standpoint, all right, as an agent, okay, you want to make sure that you understand in speaking with that client, where are they in this process So you have enough time to do your job effectively, market the property, find a buyer, all right, get the property under contract and submit it to the short sale lender to give them enough time to do their due diligence and review before a sheriff sale is scheduled. Okay. So let me walk you through that. Okay. Looking at the timeline, all right, on average, we're looking at 11 to 12 months of missed payments before a sheriff sale is scheduled. All right, 5 to 6 months before they start the foreclosure process. So if someone says to you, hey, Joe, I know that I've been talking about listing my property. I did fall behind on my mortgage. I thought I was going to be able to borrow money from my Aunt Helen, but she's not giving me any money. I need to go ahead and short sale. All right. The question you'd want to ask is, okay, Joe homeowner, how far behind are you? I'm only 2-3 months behind. All right. In Delaware, looking at that typically 11 to 12 months, if they're only a couple months behind, okay, you have plenty of time to market the property, find a buyer, put it under contract, present it to the mortgage company. All right. So when did you make your last payment? That's question number one. Question number two, have you been served foreclosure papers yet? No, I have not. Okay. If they haven't been served foreclosure papers, all right, you still have plenty of time to market the property and do those things I mentioned before. Okay. However, if you've been speaking with this potential seller for over a year now, and they call you out of the blue and they say, hey, great news, Sue. I know we've been talking for the last year about me listing this property, but I'm ready to go. Can you get out here tomorrow? I need you to get this listed right away. Well, then Sue goes, well, Joe, homeowner, we've been talking about it for a year. Why that sense of urgency? Well, I just got served a sheriff's sale notice. My house is going to sale next month. All right. Is that really somebody that you have the ability to help? Can you market the property, find a buyer, put it under contract, get the lender to do all their due diligence and get the settlement in less than 30 days? I mean, odds are the answer. I know some of you are very, very good at what you do, but odds are the answer to that is no. And I'll tell you why. Most mortgage companies now, all right, and this is kind of an industry norm. Most mortgage companies want an offer in hand for review at least 37 days prior to a scheduled sheriff sale. Okay. And because the reason that is because that they don't have enough time to do a financial review. They don't have enough time to order an appraisal on the property. All right. They have too many transactions in the pipeline to invest time, pay an appraiser for someone that's had a year to try and resolve this and get the property on the market. Okay. So again, two questions I want to ask. When did you pay? When did you last pay? And have you received foreclosure notice? That'll give you a sense for timeline based on, hey, I know days on market in this neighborhood are 45 days. And the homeowner just got served foreclosure notice last week. You'll tell yourself, hey, 45 days on market, 37 days ahead. You still have 2-3 months to go out and find a buyer. Okay. So that way you'll know if you have time. Once the sheriff's sale takes place, the mortgage company or an investor that bought it starts foreclosure proceedings to evict the property owner. Once the bank repossesses the property, now it's become an REO, also known as bank owned. REO just means real estate owned, and that means the bank owns the property. So if you see anything in the MLS, let's say you're working with a buyer and you see REO, that means it's a bank owned property. And you're going to be actually working with the bank to negotiate a purchase, okay? But a lot of homeowners, before they even get to you that are distressed, okay, they may seek some other alternatives to foreclosure. And basically the one, I think the most common what people try to do is, let's say they bought their house 5-6 years ago and they had a 6% interest rate. Okay. and they click on the TV on any given day, you know, interest rates are at 0 and you can qualify and you can refinance. Well, odds are these folks are going to reach out to a mortgage lender, to see if they can refinance the loan. Okay. Well, one of the challenges there is, you know, would they be able to get a lower interest rate? Yes. But one of the challenges, do they have any equity or enough equity in their property if they only bought it 4 or 5 years ago, and maybe they got an FHA loan and maybe they only put, you know, 3% down. So they may not have enough equity to refinance. So for those of you that have mortgage lenders, that's, you know, part of your sphere of influence and they're on your team, those folks are a great source of leads for distressed property owners. For those of you that do not have relationships, go ahead and start to build them. Because a lot of times the first thing a mortgage person struggling is they go to their mortgage lender. All right. We already talked about loan modification. Someone tries to lower their payments. The short sale is an alternative, and that's what we're really focused on here today. And another option might be a deed in lieu of foreclosure. And you may have a homeowner say, you know what, I'm just so frustrated. I've tried to do everything right by Wells Fargo. They're not going to work with me. Look the property back. I'm going to hand the keys over. Okay. Well, guess what? Handing the keys over is not that easy. That's known as a deed in lieu. You hand the deed over in lieu before they foreclose. Okay. You have to be approved for a deed in lieu, just like you do a loan modification, just like you do a short sale. Okay. If everybody could just turn over the keys and walk away, all right, our mortgage industry would never have recovered from the implosion of 2007, 2008, excuse me, because everybody would have just handed the keys over. Another alternative, folks may declare bankruptcy. If someone asks you, should I declare bankruptcy before or after a short sale? If that's what they're considering, obviously you cannot answer that question. Direct them back to their foreclosing, or excuse me, to their bankruptcy attorney. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on what we've covered so far?
Yes.
Right.
Hello.
Any questions?
Yes, I was wondering, you just mentioned about deed in lieu of foreclosure. So what's the difference in the process between the short sale and the deed in lieu of foreclosure? I know it's just handing the key, it's like handing the deed back to the bank, but you did mention there's a process. How streamlined or how difficult is the process as with respect to foreclosure process?
Yeah. So the foreclosure process is where someone just does nothing and the bank goes through the court system, takes the property back. Okay. Deed in lieu avoids the court process. Okay. The mortgage company can foreclose quicker because they're not going through the courts, because they're allowing the homeowner to hand over the deed. But here's the key thing now. Deed in lieu still shows up as a foreclosure on your credit report, still results in a judgment being held against you, okay? Still gives the mortgage company to come after you and collect for the defaulted debt. Where the short sale, the debt reports as settled. And that's a great question. And we're going to talk about this a little bit more in detail, okay? But by definition, a short sale occurs, all right, when there's not enough equity to pay off the mortgage in full after the contracted price, after the homeowner pays realtor commissions, transfer tax, title company fees. There's no money left over, and the mortgage company is coming up short. By definition, short sale. That's why the lender must approve a homeowner for a short sale, okay? And going back to your question, the majority of lenders don't want to do a deed in lieu, all right, because it's still a foreclosure. They would rather do a short sale and get more money today versus having to take the property back and start incurring fees, okay? how do lenders determine if it's a short sale or not? How do you determine if it's a short sale? Okay. You got a lot of back noise. It sounds like somebody's in their car, a lot of background noise. So here's how you figure out if it's a short sale or not. We always recommend that the homeowner, all right, with your assistance or on their own, get a mortgage payoff. Don't go by their mortgage statement. If someone is delinquent on their mortgage, okay, if they're delinquent on their mortgage, the mortgage statement won't necessarily have all their past due and late charges. It may not have attorney's fees. So the only way to truly calculate whether someone is a short sale or not is to get a full payoff. From that full payoff, then you look at where you think comps are, what it'll sell for, look at the payoff, the sales price, and then deduct the closing fees, deduct the real estate commissions, deduct the transfer fees, transfer tax, deduct the attorney's fees, and determine whether they are walking away with money or there's a shortfall, okay? It's just like you do it on any other net sheet on a traditional sale, but looking at the slide, this scenario, they owe $230, but the market value is only $195. So after you pay all the closing fees, there's a $50,000 shortfall, okay? That's why it's known as a short sale. Short, anybody that has done short sales knows short doesn't necessarily mean quick, all right? Short means it's a short of the full payoff, okay? But why would a homeowner want to do a short sale versus letting it foreclose, versus filing bankruptcy? And there are several benefits. One is, which you'll see here in a little bit later, when it comes to the credit score impact, all right, and your ability to buy, short sale far outweighs doing a foreclosure. All right, the benefits far outweigh a foreclosure. Foreclosure is going to result in a longer term impact on your credit score and a longer term impact on your ability to go and buy a new property, get a mortgage. All right, depending on which local mortgage person you talk to, some will tell you, oh, if someone has a foreclosure on their credit, I can't put them in a new mortgage for 5 to 7 years. Okay. If someone's filed bankruptcy, okay, depending on what mortgage person you speak to, they may say, I may not be able to put that person in a new mortgage for up to 7 years, okay? We'll show you the timeline for when you can go back into the market after doing a short sale here shortly. Another thing that a lot of homeowners aren't aware of and may delay contacting you to list their property is because they know what Betty's house down the street sold for, and they know what they owe on their mortgage. But geez, if I sold it for what Betty owed and I had to pay realtor commission and transfer tax, man, there's no way I can pay off my mortgage in full. All right. However, if there's no equity and there's a shortfall, the mortgage company, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan Chase, they'll pay all of the homeowner borrower's closing fees. So the mortgage company pays realtor commission. They'll pay transfer tax, all right, again, 2% of the sales price, and they'll pay attorney's fees. So once the homeowner is educated by you as a potential listing agent, if they understand that, all of a sudden, they may be more open to doing a short sale. I will tell you, a lot of the short sales that are brought to us for facilitation don't start out as short sales. Agent and homeowner agree, you know what, let's put it on the market for I can at least break even, okay? They put it on the market in 2-3 weeks. The feedback is house is overpriced, house needs too much work. And then the homeowner and you as their agent have a conversation and say, look, if we have to make a reduction or another reduction, depending on where you started the price point at, we're going to be in short sale territory, okay? At that point is where you have a conversation about the fees that a lender will pay. Because once it's a short sale, the homeowner, even though they've signed your listing agreement, they're not the ones paying the realtor commission. They're not the ones paying the transfer tax. and they're not the ones paying any attorney's fees. Okay. So there are several benefits. One I just mentioned, that the borrower lender pays all the homeowner's closing fees. All right. These couple next points I'm going to talk to, all right, are boilerplate language, all right, in the short sale approval letters. At the end of every short sale, all right.
Do not come in this room.
What's that? Sorry. I thought somebody had a question.
You can actually mute Teo, since you're the host. Do you see she's on the list there?
You want me to mute?
Yes, since you're the host, you have the ability to mute and unmute. Okay.
And who am I muting?
I think she muted herself.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. So once the property is under contract and the offer gets submitted to the mortgage company, all right, and the mortgage company does their due diligence, at the end of the day, everybody's agreed to the price, the mortgage company, the seller, and the buyer, all right? The mortgage company issues a short sale approval letter, okay? The approval letter serves as a payoff to the buyer and the buyer's lender and the buyer's attorney, all right? And it states in there that the lien will be released once it goes for sale. But for that homeowner, this is the language you want to see in every short sale approval letter. And quite frankly, it's an industry norm, whether it's Bank of America, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan Chase. This is the language that we see. One is, if they approve the short sale, the lender reports the debt as settled for less than owed, settled for less than full amount. The key is that it's settled debt, okay? No judgment. Deed in lieu, foreclosure equal judgment. Short sale equals no judgment, okay? The second thing is that we want to see in writing, and is boilerplate, is that the lender waives pursuit of the deficiency balance, agrees not to collect the shortfall amount. So these two things, I call them the get out of jail free card. If you had this in writing from the mortgage company, when you complete a short sale, okay, they cannot come after you 2 days, 2 months, or 20 years to try and collect. All right. They've agreed to settle your debt for less than you owed and waive the deficiency balance. Okay. The only time you may not see the waiver of the shortfall amount is if your mortgage, all right, is a home equity line with a local bank, because they can't sell off home equity lines, or if the homeowner has a loan with a local credit union. All right, let's use Dexday Federal Credit Union. They don't treat the bad debt like a big mortgage company. They keep that debt on their books. So in those situations, if the homeowner does have a second loan with either a HELOC or a credit union, odds are very high that they're going to have to sign some form of promissory note. So if someone's contemplating a short sale and you're working with them on the listing side, have them talk to their credit union to determine what their obligation will be post-closing. Okay. All right. Here's another big benefit of a short sale. So another thing that you're going to see in a short sale approval letter is the mortgage company has to report that forgiven debt, that $50,000, to the IRS. It's the law. So they have to go to the IRS and say, hey, look, we are settling a loan. We forgave Joe and Sue homeowner of $50,000. By law, they have to tell the IRS and issue the homeowner a 1099-C. The homeowner, all right, may have to pay income tax as if they made $50,000, okay? However, all right, there is a silver lining here. At the end of last year, if anybody recalls, in December, right before the holidays, there was concern that they were going to shut down the government. And they were able to fund the government And then in January, National Association of Realtors put a bulletin out there that really kind of fell between the cracks because it was the beginning of the new year and a lot of people didn't see it. But they announced that Congress renewed what's called the Mortgage Debt Services Relief Act. And this applies to people that are that have short-sailed a primary residence. This does not apply to a second home or investment property. But not only did Congress extend it for 2020, they also made it retroactive for 2018 and 2019. This had actually expired in 2017 after 10 years. So if any of you have had clients that you've worked with in the past on a short sale, and they did that short sale in 2018, 2019, they quite possibly paid income tax on that forgiven debt. So a good way to keep yourself connected with those former clients is to let them know to go talk to their accountant, because they may be able to revisit their tax return if they paid taxes, okay? The good news is that Congress extended this for anybody that's doing a short sale in 2020, all right? Now, investment properties, second homes do not qualify. It has to be a primary residence, and the homeowner needs to provide proof that they resided in that home half of the last 5 years, okay? But let me tell you how it works. If I'm an individual and I have a mortgage, and let's say my mortgage is $500,000, and I did a short sale and Wells Fargo netted $250,000. So they have a $250,000 shortfall. The way the mortgage debt services work is for an individual on a loan, up to $250,000 in forgiven debt, not sales price, up to $250,000. I don't have to pay any income tax on that 1099 today, okay? Let's say I owned $1 million property, and after the short sale, Wells Fargo netted $500,000, and I'm on the mortgage with my wife. So Wells Fargo forgave us of $500,000. If it's two people on the mortgage, up to $500,000 in forgiven debt, you don't pay any income tax on, as long as it was your primary residence, okay? This is a huge win for struggling homeowners. And, you know, obviously what we're seeing now, extended furloughs and layoffs and outright just letting people go due to the economy, this act can really come into play to help people out into 2020, all right? Does anybody have any questions on the Mortgage Debt Services Act? Okay, moving along. The next big question that you'll get asked, and again, you cannot give credit advice, okay? Direct a homeowner that's asking for credit advice to a mortgage lender, to a credit specialist that can help them out, all right? Credit is so subjective. You know, if I'm doing a short sale and I'm only late on my mortgage, but I'm current on my credit card payments, I'm not over leveraged, I pay my Verizon bill on time, I don't have any other credit blemishes, you know, the impact to me is going to be a lot lighter than someone that is you know, maxed out on their credit cards and they're late paying their car insurance and their Delmarva bill and all that stuff. All right. But the good news is once the short sale gets completed, all right, I'm Wells Fargo, the short sale's done. All right. Next month, I don't report a 30-day late or missed payments to the 3 credit bureaus because the loan is settled. Okay. So as a homeowner, next month, I don't have a late notice anymore. I don't have a late ding on my credit score. Okay. The other thing is, usually after about 60 to 90 days after the short sale, if I'm Wells Fargo, I go to the 3 credit bureaus and I show them that that mortgage is no longer on your credit report because it's been closed out. For those of you that know anything about credit, the 2 biggest drivers for your credit score, how you pay your mortgage, number 1. Number 2, what's your debt to income ratio? Okay. So after the short sale, I don't have a negative tick for not paying my mortgage. All right. So that's positive for me. And then once that mortgage balance, let's say it's $200,000, comes off of my mortgage, my debt load goes way down. My debt to income ratio has a positive spike. Most homeowners start to experience positive spikes in their credit score about 60 to 90 days after doing a short sale. Okay. But here's what we've seen locally, and I'm saying local mortgage lenders. All right. They tell us after about 2.5 to 3 years, after someone does a short sale, they can put them into a new mortgage. Okay. Sometimes it happens a little sooner. Sometimes it happens a little bit longer, but on average, 2.5 to 3 years. So think back, bankruptcy up to 7 years, foreclosure somewhere 5 to 7 years. All right. That's why a short sale is so beneficial, because there's no judgment. They report the debt as settled. They waive the deficiency balance. They pay the homeowner's closing fees, and the homeowner can qualify for a new mortgage in a shorter time period. That's why it's in their best interest to do that. Okay. We always recommend that homeowners seek professional advice. Talk to an accountant, talk to an attorney when considering this. Okay. But we often get asked by realtors, I have a homeowner, they're current on their mortgage and they want to take advantage of the low interest rates, or, they just had their third kid and they want to go buy a bigger house. Can they short sale this property because there's no equity? Okay. Well, the question that we typically suggest asking is, all right, what's the financial hardship? All right. Can they afford the mortgage? Yes or no? If someone is paying their mortgage on time, there is no job loss, and they have the full ability to pay, all right, they're not necessarily a short sale candidate. You need to be able, that homeowner needs to demonstrate financial hardship to the mortgage company. Okay. Right now we're seeing it. All right. We've got literally record unemployment across the country due to COVID. Okay. You either been furloughed, or you've been let go altogether, or you've had a reduction in hours. If this occurs, you can't pay your mortgage. This is the most common reason and recognizable hardship from all the mortgage companies. Change in your job status. Second thing is medical illness. Is somebody in your family sick? Do you have mounting medical bills? Can you no longer afford the mortgage? All right. Have you fallen behind? All right. The other most common one is divorce. You have dual income family. When they get a divorce individually, they can't afford the property on their own, or it was part of the divorce decree where they had to sell the property. Unfortunately, in our business, what we see in short sales, close to 1 in 3 short sales are divorce situations. And the last thing is death. All right. I don't care what Bank of America tells you. If you're dead, you can't pay them the mortgage payment. Okay. One of the things that you may come across or have come across is an estate sale. If mom and dad pass away and they leave the property to the adult children, and there's no equity in the property, the adult children, some of them are concerned. Well, you know what? Mom and dad left the property to me. I don't want my credit to be damaged, so I need to get rid of this property and sell it. Okay. Understand that if the adult children were not on the mortgage, okay, they have no obligation to sell the property. They can let it foreclose. There is no credit score impact to them. Okay. However, let's say that there is an insurance policy that mom left each kid 10 grand in the insurance policy. Well, until they close out the estate and allow all creditors to come forward, okay, they cannot get access to that money. So the adult children, if there is an estate and there are funds to get, they have to close out, which means they need to sell the property. But just understand, if it's an emotional moment for adult children and mom passed away and there's a lot of memories, if there's no equity, they can walk away, let it foreclose. There's no impact to them. Okay. The last bullet there is, this is a trend that we're seeing. We are seeing more reverse mortgage short sales in the last year than we've had previously. People, elderly people, took the equity out of their home. They spent that equity and they're no longer living in the property. Either they passed away or they're in an assisted living, or they can't maintain the property anymore, so they've moved in with their kids. Once they move out to the property, okay, the way reverse mortgages they were written is now the mortgage company has to call an action, sell the property, split the proceeds, let an adult child buy the property if they want, depending on how the reverse mortgage was written, okay, or short sell it, okay. These are not that difficult to do. Reverse mortgages, majority of them are HUD-backed loans, housing urban development. It's pretty simple. Put it on the market. You provide proof of death of the borrower or borrowers. You provide proof of executorship of the person that's selling the property, okay? The mortgage company does an appraisal, and as long as the offer is 95% of the appraised value, they will approve the short sale, okay? Going back 2-3 years ago, it would take upwards of 9 months for a mortgage company, reverse mortgage, to review a short sale. That timeline is about 35 to 45 days now. It happens very quickly. Don't shy away from reverse mortgage short sales, okay? And from a listing perspective, and obviously, this is where Leonard asked me to kind of focus more in on is, what things should you be doing and what you should be looking for, and which things can help you be more successful. Obviously, number one, get that payoff. Get authorized with the mortgage company if the homeowner doesn't have the ability or the willingness to do it, okay? Get that mortgage payoff so you know whether it's a short sale or not, okay? Make sure you disclose in the multi-listing that it is a short sale, alerting the potential buyer's agent that, it's going to require third-party approval, okay? As you would on any other sale, complete a market analysis, determine what is fair market value given the condition of the property. And a lot of agents will ask us the question, well, does the bank set the list price? The answer is no. All right. The banks aren't hiring appraisers to go out and evaluate properties that may or may not be listed, that may or may not be sold. So the reason that the mortgage companies, as part of their due diligence, all right, when reviewing a short sale, the reason they hire their own appraisal is because they want fair market value given the condition of the property. So we look to the realtors on the listing side to determine what's fair market value. What are other properties similar to this selling for? And that's what the mortgage company is going to look for in a short sale. Now, again, is the property in disrepair? Obviously, the lender will consider taking less if it's in disrepair, okay? The other thing that we recommend is that you order a title search. If someone is in distress and they're not paying their mortgage, odds are they may not be paying credit cards. Maybe they owe the Division of Revenue for Delaware past due taxes. Maybe they have an IRS lien, okay? The reason you want to run, and you just do a present owner search, it's less expensive than a full title search, but also it'll tell you the folks that are living in the property now, present owner, are there any judgments out there? Because take short sale out of it. If there are judgments against it and it's a traditional sale, any judgments need to be resolved before a buyer's attorney can provide title insurance, okay? So definitely make sure that you have a title search, okay? Here's another thing, all right? We get asked all the time. How can I identify clients for short sale listings, okay? It's not that hard. For any that have been in the business for an extended period of time, you have your sphere of influence that you work with to identify distressed homeowners. The easiest thing you can do is take a ride down to Wilmington and go into the Prothonotary office and look at their public records. It's posted. It's public information. You can go over to the Prothonotary office, talk to the folks that work behind the window over there. when indeed the Prothonotary opens back up. I'm not sure if it's even open yet, but they can point you to the list of active recent foreclosure filings. Okay. Just be aware how if you market, if you send letters, obviously there are guidelines in the state of Delaware for targeting distressed homeowners. So you got to make sure any of your marketing efforts towards these types of folks follow the state and DAR guidelines. Okay. The other thing you can do is call the local banks, call the local credit unions, find out who runs their asset management department as it relates to housing. Ask if you can be put on the list, potentially list properties that they've are in default, and maybe they can have you come in and work with the homeowner to list it. All right. Obviously, your sphere of influence. We talked about mortgage lenders being a resource. All right. Talk to your attorneys, talk to accountants. I mean, I probably get 3-4 calls a year from my accountant saying, hey, Bill, I had one of my clients came in. They've got a property down the beach. It was an investment. They're losing their shirt on it. They've fallen behind. They need to get rid of it. Okay. The other thing is introduce yourself to local HUD counselors. Go to the local county groups that help struggling folks with their debt. They are a great resource of folks that potentially may be short sale candidates for you, because the homeowners are seeking out these resources to determine if they can qualify for a loan modification, for an example. So definitely my recommendation is you reach out to those folks as well. Okay. One thing that you always want to be aware of, okay, beware of title issues on property. Okay. We talked about the taxes. One thing we see a lot, if someone is in a homeowners association or a condo and if they're not paying the mortgage, odds are they're not paying dues. Majority of these HOAs and condo associations have attorney representation. They put judgments and liens on the property. Okay. Mentioned before, look for credit card judgments. Okay. You may see second mortgages. All right. If someone had a DSHA, Delaware State Housing Loan, for their down money, guess what? DSHA never sends them a monthly invoice. All right. No, they never get a monthly statement. So if they did a mortgage 6 years ago and they had DSHA for bond money, you're meeting with them and they go, no, here's my bill for Wells Fargo. All right. I only have one mortgage. Okay. You get the property under contract. This isn't a short sale, by the way. 2 weeks before closing, the attorney says, we have a problem. There's a second mortgage with DSHA showing up on it. You go back to the homeowner and you say, hey, did you ever take out bond money with DSHA when you bought your home? Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did. Why? Well, because there's a second mortgage on your property. They're not trying to mislead you. All right. DSHA never sends them a statement. All right. They're signing all those papers with their mortgage lender at the beginning. They don't know to ask. That's why you want to look for the present owner search. The other thing is if they have an FHA loan and they did a loan modification, all right, Housing Urban Development, HUD, all right, will put a second mortgage against the property, and HUD won't send a bill either. All right. It's on title because they expect to be paid in full at settlement. That's why you want a title search. Okay. Again, your responsibilities, all right, when you are working a short sale, obviously they aren't any different than a typical sale, right? You're going to get an executed contract. You're going to get the listing agreement signed. You're going to put it in the MLS. All right. But then there might be Bank of America, for an example, specific addendums for the short sale. All right. You're going to get a pre-qualification letter like you would normally. These are the things that the mortgage companies want to see with an offer. Okay. And sub-bullet under agreement of sale, I have there typically no electronic signatures accepted. All right. The mortgage companies years ago, and when I say the majority of them, I mean the majority of them, okay, won't accept electronic signatures because they're concerned about fraud. They're concerned that someone could go set up a Gmail account and sign for, let's say, a family member or a divorced spouse sign a sales contract. So majority of the lenders don't accept electronic signatures, meaning we don't need originals, but majority of lenders want ink signed sales contracts. Even with COVID going on, right? And when I say the majority of them, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan Chase, they will not accept electronic signatures. You may have been involved in a short sale where it was maybe a Bayview Loan Servicing or a Mr. Cooper where they accept electronic, all right? That might be the case, okay? But majority of lenders do not. Even during COVID, Bank of America and Wells Fargo still required ink signatures. It was an absolute pain in the you-know-what, all right? But it's better for you to know that, you know, you get a contract in and it comes in electronically signed. It's best to go back and get ink initials and signatures early on, okay? The other thing you're going to want to make sure, whether you're facilitating the short sale on your own, you're working with a third party like us, that someone is giving the mortgage company a completed ALTA or CD, because that's how the bank determines how much of a loss they're going to take after all the closing fees, okay? How can you protect your sellers? Obviously, you want to put the language in the public remarks, all right, that it is a short sale. Understand that if a homeowner doesn't have money to make repairs, the mortgage company's not making repairs. These are as-is sales, okay? So make sure that a potential buyer's agent know the seller's not going to make any repairs, because the challenge there is you can go through the whole process, get the short sale approved, the buyer goes in and does inspections, and they say, you know what, we're going to walk. We move on. Okay. Guess what? The buyer can go find a new property, but your seller, now they're 2-3 months closer to a sheriff sale. They've got 2-3 more months of negative 30-day lates on their credit. They're the ones that are negatively impacted. Okay. And this literally, I just got a call Monday. All right. Had the short sale just got approved. We had a fight for the value for the buyer, and the buyer had in the contract inspections after bank approval. Now, again, it was a first-time home buyer. They didn't have a lot of money, okay? They didn't want to pay for inspections until after they knew the loan was the short sale was approved. And my recommendation to the listing agent was, look, you know, I can argue both sides. That buyer doesn't have any money. They don't want to pay for an inspection. I can argue that. You know, I understand that. But for protecting your seller, if you take this contract, okay, the short sale's approved, just know the buyer can walk. Now what happens to your seller? Okay, so got the short sale approved a week and a half ago. The first-time buyer went out. They did their inspections over the weekend, and my phone rings on Monday, and the buyer's agent, who I know and knows me and knows short sales, says, well, we need the HVAC replaced, we need the roof fixed, and we want those repairs done. Okay. What don't you understand? That it's an as-is sale. What don't you understand? That the homeowner isn't making any repairs because that was disclosed. So guess what? That transaction is going to fall apart. It was an approved short sale. Guess what? Did that buyer still pay for inspections? The answer is yes. So they could have paid from up front and walked, or they could have paid from them up front and adjusted their price then and gone in with a lower price. But no. We're not going to pay for it till after the banks approved it. So congratulations, the banks approved it, and the homeowner, the buyer rather, still paid for repairs. They still spent the money, and they still don't have the house, and it's a failed short sale, okay? I'll get off my soapbox there, but just understand, protect your seller. Make sure that you are informing that it's an as-is sale. If you want to do inspections, do them early on, because if you're going to walk, we'd rather not lose marketing time, because guess what? Once the agent changed the multi-listing to active under contract, showings dried up. So we also lost marketing time, okay? All right, just so you're aware, I mean, there are a number of fees that lenders won't pay. All right. They won't pay a cable bill or a Delmarva power bill. They won't pay the Decoya docs. They won't pay any HOA assessment fees, but they may pay some HOA past due payments, typically not more than about 6 months. If you find on a title report credit card bills, the mortgage companies won't pay personal debt. The homeowner will have to get those resolved to provide clear title if they're active judgments. And I'm not sure you guys charge an admin fee, but they won't pay a broker admin fee either most times. And again, that's always a point of contention because a lot of the brokers now, even on the buy side, will charge a broker admin fee. And in a short sale, the mortgage company is paying the commission. And if let's say they approve 6%, anything being paid to the brokerage over and above 6%, like an admin fee, they'll make come off the Alta or HUD. Okay. And then what's the homeowner going to be required of? Again, we wouldn't look to you, nor should the homeowner look to you to tell them exactly what the mortgage company is going to require. Understand that the mortgage company is going to require some type of financial information. Sometimes it might be a mortgage assistance application. Will they fill out income expense? Sometimes the lender will ask them to fill out a hardship letter. Sometimes they'll ask for pay stubs or bank statements. Sometimes they'll ask for tax returns. All right. There's a myriad of things that the mortgage companies can look for. I will tell you that in the last 1.5 to 2 years, the amount of documentation that the lenders require has really gone a lot. They really streamline their processes. Okay. Now, the review steps for the mortgage company, and I know we're right at 12 o'clock here. The review steps for the mortgage company, most of the mortgage companies aren't starting a short sale review until an offer goes in. Okay. It has to be under contract. Some of the key milestones, if you're on the buy side and the short sale is dragging on month after month after month, ask yourself or ask the agent on the other side, the sell side, a couple questions. You know, has a loss mitigation specialist been assigned? Has a negotiator been assigned? These are the people inside a mortgage company that oversee the process. Okay. Next thing you want to ask is, has an appraisal been completed? All right. If you're 3-4 weeks into a short sale review and you ask that question and they're like, oh, there's no appraisal been ordered yet. All right. Start to shake the tree a little bit, because usually after the financial review, they do the appraisal. Okay. Once the financial review is done, also known as underwriting, and the appraisal's done, okay, then the lender, Bank of America, sends it out to the investor for their review. It's not the Bank of Americas of the world that decision short sales. It's the investor. Who do I mean by investor? Did Fannie Mae buy the loan? Did Freddie Mac buy the loan? Is it a USDA backed loan? Is it an FHA backed loan backed by HUD? Or is it a private investor, institutional investor, like a hedge fund? Okay. Once they do the review there, all right, then they'll determine, do they accept it? All right. Or they'll determine, do they counter the buyer's offer? Once that price point is agreed upon, the lender issues the short sale approval, and then you can move towards settlement. Okay. So those are the key milestones. You're on the buy side. Ask to make sure that if you're not seeing activity or movement throughout the process, you know when the cry bull, and see if you can get it escalated. And hey, for the benefit of everybody on the call, I mean, I can send this presentation after the fact, so I'll get it to Theodore, and he can distribute it to everybody. So again, we don't need to get through all the slides today. Can I just ask, are we okay on time? Do you want to continue? Do you want to finish up?
I'm okay to continue.
Yeah, we can continue.
Yes, we can continue.
All right, great.
Let's continue.
All right, fantastic. Fantastic. Again, like I said, I will hand these slides out. And basically, for the purposes of today, I really try to focus more on listing. Even though we teach this, Mike Caritas has had us in a few years back to teach you folks. I mean, we teach our CE class to Keller Williams. We do a lot at down at the beach, Lewis and Bethany. We just taught this class there last year. So we'll continue on.
I'm sorry, I have a quick question.
Sure.
As you were saying, how do you know what to list the property for? You just mentioned that you need it to be approved by the investor, the amount that the property's selling for. So when you list it, do you have an idea, or how do you come up with the number?
Yeah. So let me give you for an example. All right. Let's say you do your normal due diligence on any listing. You pull market analysis, and you know the last 5 homes in this neighborhood sold roughly between $215,000 and $230,000. Okay. That's the market value. That's what you would normally list this property for. Okay. It's not any different in a short sale. If the homeowner says to you, hey, but I owe $300. Well, guess what? If the mortgage company takes the property back at a sheriff's sale, are they going to be able to repossess it and sell it for $300? The answer is no. They're going to repossess it and sell it for what market value is, $215,000 to $230,000. Okay. So it's not about what the homeowner owes. You want to focus in on, like you would on any other sale, what is current market value? As I said earlier, part of the mortgage company's due diligence, part of their review process is they send their appraiser out. All right. They hire a local appraiser, and they're going to determine what they believe to be fair market value. So as close as you can get an offer to fair market value, the better your chances of success. So what I had said earlier is the mortgage companies aren't sending out appraisers for properties that may be listed, for properties that may be sold. All right. They look to you as the agent to determine what is fair market value given the condition of the property. And here's reality. Okay. You can list it for $300 to appease your homeowner. All right. And after the first 2-3 weeks, all your activity, all your feedback will be price too high, price too high, price too high. At that point, you're going to have to start doing periodic price reductions. The mortgage company doesn't want to see you listed at $300 and then a week later dropped it down to $225. All right. They want to see periodic reductions. They want to see a listing history. Our recommendation is this. You want to list it at or just above what you believe to be fair market value. Because once you start your showings, the market will tell you whether the house is overpriced, whether the house needs updating. At that point, you can consider every 2-3 weeks doing a 3 to 5% price reduction. Here's the key thing, and here's a common mistake realtors make. They price it well below market value to get it. And let's say market value is $215 and the agent lists it at $175. And all of a sudden, the first weekend, you've got 3 offers. Oh my God, this is great. I've got 3 offers. Congratulations, you put under contract at $175. Bank of America, part of their short sale review, goes out and does an appraisal. They appraise it at $225. They come back and they counter the buyer to $225. Buyer says, well, wait a minute. I paid full asking price at $175. If the value is $225, why didn't you list it there? Guess what happens? You lose the buyer. Okay. So it is a balancing act, but quite frankly, it's really on the listing agent to determine what is market value given the condition of the property. Again, the closer you can get that to the mortgage company, what they determine to be market value, the better your chances of success. Okay. And again, the one thing you want to think about, okay, is that, you know, when you list a short sale and you put in the MLS, and everybody knows this, investors are back in full force. All right. If market value is $225 don't take an offer at 125. You're wasting your time, your seller's time. You're wasting the mortgage company's time. All right. I mean, because you know they're going to counter to fair market value. Okay. But let's say there is $50,000 in disrepair. All right. All the buyer needs to do is get a repair estimate, has to be from a licensed contractor. You submit that with the offer to say, look, we know properties in this neighborhood comp at 225, but this property has a failed HVAC. This property has a hole in the roof. This property has damaged floors. Here's an estimate. I will tell you that goes a long way to justifying a buyer's offer. Okay. But really try not to waste your time with lowball offers. It's not throw it against the wall and see what sticks. Because again, as I mentioned earlier, every month it ticks along, that homeowner is that closer to foreclosure. Okay. The next question we get asked a lot is, how long does it typically take for a short sale? This is a general rule of thumb. All right. If it's just one mortgage, all right, and it's not a HUD-backed loan, an FHA loan, you're looking at about 45 to 60 days from when an offer goes in to a decision. All right. Once the decision is made, meaning the mortgage company issues the short sale approval letter, then you have to allow another 30, 40 days if it's a mortgage buyer to get their mortgage done. Okay. To that, you need to add your days on market. All right. What's your marketing time? So if the homeowner is saying, hey, look, I have one mortgage with Bank of America and it's a Fannie Mae backed loan. Okay. Your mindset is, okay, average days on market is about 30 to 45. To that, we add another 45 to 60 days for B of A to do the short sale review with Fannie Mae. Once it's approved, another 30, 40 days for the buyer to get their mortgage done. All right. Add that timeline together. That's how you can educate your homeowner on when they should expect to be out of the property. Understand, once they have the letter, the approval letters are issued valid, good for about 30 to 40 days prior to settlement. So they're going to know at least a month ahead, all right, when the sale needs to close by. Okay. Again, if it's an FHA-backed loan, HUD's involved in those. Typically, that timeline up to about 90 days. Okay. Because not only does the lender need to approve it, so does HUD. Okay. And speaking of HUD, HUD has what's called a pre-foreclosure program. And this is the only time, all right, if the homeowner started the process ahead, where HUD issues a document called an approval to participate. And basically, the approval to participate is completed after the homeowner has provided financials to the mortgage company, in turn provided them the HUD. HUD will, if the homeowner is only in pre-foreclosure, not foreclosure, they'll actually send their appraiser out ahead, and they'll issue this ATP document. The ATP will give you a suggested list price. All right. So go back to that question earlier. This is the only time if the homeowner has already started the review with HUD, all right, and they are in pre-foreclosure. If they're approved for that program, they'll tell you the suggested list, and they'll also tell you the required net. This program also, if the home is owner occupied, will also give that homeowner a $3,000 relocation incentive. Okay. Here's a trap that listing agents fall into a lot. Homeowner will say, I know my friend, my relative, my cousin, my priest did a short sale and they got $3,000 in relocation money. Am I getting $3,000? All right. The only way to answer that question is there are no guarantees. Okay. That's up to your mortgage company. Okay. Because unless it's an FHA HUD-backed loan, unless HUD meets their required net, unless the homeowner still lives in the property, they're not getting $3,000. Okay. I will tell you, I've literally been at settlement over the years, and the attorney is handing out checks to listing agent, buyer's agent, us, and everybody gets up and the homeowner sits there and says, well, where's my check? And the
My
attorney goes,
sister, I
what's
didn't
that?
know it was you. Ali, let's go. Let me finish off the walk. Let's finish off the walk. You going home, right?
Gabriel,
Put it in here.
Gabriel. Okay.
So just don't fall into that trap, okay? Because, folks will tell themselves what they want to hear. And if they know somebody else got money, that doesn't mean that they're going to get money, okay? And then the other item there is if they are a part of the pre-foreclosure program and they don't sell the property, you don't have a buyer that's willing to pay at that price they set at HUD, that homeowner does have the opportunity to do a deed in lieu. And only under this program, the HUD program, will report as as debt settled, just like a short sale. It's only for FHA-backed loans. Okay. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, but just understand the reason you want to know who B of A or Wells Fargo is servicing the loan for is because it's really about the investor that owns a mortgage. So if you know Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac owns a loan, they have their own requirements, as you see on the screen, for the amount of delinquency required and the type of hardship, okay? And again, I'll forward these all to theater so you guys have it at the end of the day, right? There are some resources for you guys online. Anybody that has done your own short sales in the past, Equator originated years ago as an asset disposition website. This website was the mortgage companies, the big ones, used it to list their bank-owned properties after they come back. 2007, 2008, Equator modified this website to be a conduit for mortgage companies that were doing short sales. So it enables you to initiate a short sale for a given lender. It enables you to upload documents. It enables that lender to communicate with you via email through the secured website, and basically oversees the entire process. Unfortunately, Bank of America, the first adopter of this website, doesn't use it anymore. Wells Fargo does not use it anymore. JP Morgan Chase, US Bank, Carrington Mortgage, PHH still utilize this, okay? So if you are facilitating your own short sale and it is one of those lenders, you're going to have to initiate it in Equator, all right? But from a potential listing opportunity, the big mortgage companies are back now using this as an asset disposition website. You can actually go on, sign in, create your own user ID, and you can plug in zip codes that you are interested in. All right. And I think there's a price per hit if you get selected, but you can actually get on the mortgage company's list for bank-owned listing properties. So again, the website's listed there at bottom, equator.com, that you can utilize if you're interested in potentially bank-owned listings. In all candor, this is a very mature website. There's literally thousands upon thousands of realtors listed, but you never know. You get in there. HomePath is a Fannie Mae website. Any of you have worked with Fannie Mae on a bank-owned property, you've worked through HomePath. But if you're facilitating your own short sale and it's a Fannie Mae-backed loan, not only do you need to send it to the mortgage company that's doing the billing and collecting, you also need to send it to Fannie Mae. If you aren't aware of that, because guess what? Fannie Mae is the one that processes the review. Fannie Mae is the one that orders the appraisal. Fannie Mae is the one that approves the short sale. The lender just collects the documents. The lender, mortgage company, is the one that issues the approval letter. So if you are working a short sale and it's Fannie Mae and all you're doing is submitting documents to the lender, that short sale is not going anywhere until you initiate it in HomePath, okay? The good news is both Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have their own lookup tool. The homeowner can go on here, first name, last name, house address, last four of their social, and the website will tell them whether their loan is a Fannie Mae or Freddie backed, okay? And then the last online resource is if you have a homeowner, all right, that is not paying their mortgage and they've received their foreclosure notice, you want to start to monitor the county sheriff sale lists, okay? This right here is a screenshot of Newcastle County. And in the upper left box there, under Newcastle County, you'll see sales lists. You can look at that. You want to make sure that you're monitoring this website, because the worst thing you can do, all right, worst not that you can do, that can happen to you, is you've got a property that's in for review, and whoever is facilitating the sale, if it's you, you're talking to the mortgage company, and the mortgage company is saying, yes, we've requested the postponement. Make sure you look on the sheriff's sale to see, do they have it postponed or not? Yes or no. Okay. If they're saying, nope, the mortgage company hasn't told us that it's postponed yet, you got to get back to the mortgage company. You don't want to lose a property to sheriff's sale that you're actively involved in a short sale review. Okay. So this is a key resource. The good news is that it's electronic. You don't have to call. It's posted, and the information's there and available for you. All right. Folks, that is all I have for today. We can open it up to any more detailed questions that you have. And I appreciate we ran a little bit over, but again, hopefully, we got through this in a timely manner for everybody.
Yes, and I apologize for that interruption.
This is all new technology, no worries.
Okay. Any questions? So thank you, Bill. Bill McCormack with CK Capital. We appreciate it. Now, could you explain shortly your organization, your relationship with realtors, and how could one get in contact with you if they have any further questions or would like to, perform a short sale with your organization?
Yeah, and just at a high level, I mentioned we work a lot with Keller Williams in Delaware, Ocean City, Maryland, down through Coastal Association and West Ocean City. We do a lot with Keller Williams up in Delaware County and Chester County. So we work with a lot of the offices we teach. Basically, we're brought in by the listing side, okay? For agents that don't want to do the short sale on their own, all right, agents want to focus on growing their business. They want to focus on listing property, marketing property. They don't want to spend countless hours on the phone with the mortgage companies. That's what my staff does. Our offices are right over on Kirkwood Highway, right at the entrance of Milltown Road. We've been facilitating short sales over 18 years now. Typically, the agent has identified a homeowner that is delinquent. They've identified a homeowner that is upside down on the mortgage. They'll call us. We'll go through the benefits of a short sale with a homeowner, all right, as part of the listing process. We will discuss the tax implications, the credit benefit, and we'll educate that consumer up front, and we'll explain to you as a realtor and the homeowner what's the expected timeline, okay? And then for the listing agent, we have a package that we have put together that's listing agent instructions, all right? Disclosures for the MLS. Obviously, you may already have those through your broker, okay? But we'll give you sample disclosure language for the MLS. The homeowner signs a client engagement letter with CK Capital that explains what our services are, all right? They fill out a third-party authorization allowing us to talk to the mortgage company. If you don't want to get authorized and get that payoff, we'll do that for you, okay? Our fee is typically paid on the buyer side of the ALTA. Buyers can either ask for a closing costs credit from the seller's mortgage company, if it's a mortgage buyer, or they can ask for a reduction in offer to account for our fee. The goal is that it should be a wash to the seller. It maximizes the realtor commission because we're not an added line item on that sell side that the mortgage company is going to take away your commission. Our standard fee for any transaction over $100,000 is just like a realtor's. We get standard of 3% fee. All right. The fact that we teach at Newcastle County, the fact that we have been facilitating these in Newcastle County for 18 years now. Our model is not a surprise to anybody. It should be a wash to the seller. Our fee should be a wash to the buyer, and it should maximize your commission. If you need a little bit more detail around that, if you're not experienced, at the bottom of the email that I send with the PowerPoint will be my contact information. I'll be more than happy to answer those questions. And even if we're not involved, if you're on the buy side and it's stalled and you're not sure, or if you're looking in the multi-listing and you see that we're facilitating a short sale, give us a call. Hey, Bill, how many lenders? You know, what's the timeline? If you're interested in writing on it, we'll give you the information so you can set expectations with a buyer as well, okay?
Awesome, perfect. And in the meantime, your phone number and your website, please.
Phone number, my office is 302-543-8462. My cell, which is the best way, 302-893-9288. And our website is CK, C as in Charles, K as in Kevin, the word capital, CAPITAL, the word management, spelled out, .com. I'll apologize in advance for the extended email address. So it's my email is wmccormack@ckcapitalmanagement.com.
Awesome, perfect. We really do appreciate your class today. World of information. Thank you so much for your time. We look forward to being in business together, and we look forward to reaching out to you. And again, thank you so much.
Everybody,
Yes,
stay safe, be happy, and be healthy. We'll talk soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
All right,
Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And Bill, you can end the meeting
All right,
because you're the
fantastic.
host.
I'll
Okay.
shoot you an email right now with this slide presentation attached, okay?
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a great day, okay?
Leonard, you will be forwarding that to everyone else, right?
That is correct. Yes.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Leonard. I think I may have said Theodore. Leonard, sorry, earlier. All right, see you guys. Take care.
Bye. Thank you.